Okay, action is happening sooner than later. Can you hold that in video while we go?
All right.
Okay. So we're on the live there, and then I'm going to start pushing you now. Do you want me to go backwards when we go down there?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so yep, I thought we were gonna sit here for a little while, but now we are getting closer to the construction where the machines or heavy equipment starting to fire up and try to get started working, but I'm gonna get a little closer here now. Being pulled in the phone. Whoa.
Oh, gee.
There we go. Okay, now we're going to turn back around here.
It's too soft. I mean, it's pretty soft.
Yeah. It's alright, it'll give me a good workout. There we go.
Oh, you're heating into the really soft.
Into that soft skirt. Okay, there we go.
Whoa.
You want to take one side? Do you think it would help?
Yeah, and just push him up.
Yeah. Let me try to what if we tilt you a little bit?
Yeah, that'd probably
It'd
be.
kind of crazy, but I think it might work.
Here you go. Here, I'll grab this from you, son. Here you go. It's just that he's stuck right in the... Here, let's try to lift him, Will. Right in the front. Ready? 1, 2, 3. There we go. Just stuck right in the... Right in a little hole here. Okay, so we're getting closer. How
you doing, Chase? Switch out? No, this is good. With you guys on it, it's about it.
All right, now I'm out of breath a little bit. But we've moved closer to stop the construction or the heavy equipment from starting to run. And okay, again, we're here in prayer.
Workers came down the road, got in this heavy equipment right here, these pieces of heavy equipment, and began preparing to move further to the west in Thacker Pass and explore the land. So we have Dean Barlise and Bethany Sam here have moved into a more strategic location, and they're blocking the equipment. So the workers have turned off their rigs and are just sitting there. We have no beef with them. We have no problem with them particularly. whatsoever. I understand people trying to feed their family and get by. It's a hard world to survive in, and we have no problem with them. In fact, I hope they get a bonus today.
Right.
So these two are standing here peacefully. These folks are holding a banner, blocking the road, and we have other supporters here who are recording, observing what's happening, and making sure that nothing nefarious goes on. So, again, for those who aren't aware, we're here at Thacker Pass. It's 7 a.m. The workers usually begin work at 6 a.m. up here, and this morning they were met with direct action protesters, prayerful people who are here to say a prayer for the land, to say a prayer for the water, for the future generations, for the people here, the ancestors who were massacred here, the Paiute people who were killed in 1865 and in previous occasions, and also for people around the world who are affected by this mine. It's not just here, and this is the point that I made on my last live video, but I know some of you, I'm sure, weren't on that last live video. But what happens here is connected to everything all around the world, all these different issues, because this mine will use sulfur that comes from the Alberta tar sands. So we're in solidarity with all the people fighting the Alberta tar sands across that region of Canada. We're in solidarity with the people who are facing destruction and exploitation in the Congo because of cobalt mining that also goes into electric vehicle batteries. We're in solidarity with the people fighting nickel extraction in places like Indonesia, where nickel mining has devastated the land. Because lithium from Thacker Pass might end up in the very same batteries sandwiched together with nickel from these communities in Indonesia that are facing very similar destruction to what's happening here. Different context, different location, different language, different country, different side of the world, but the story is the same, the struggle is the same. So people are standing here, and people are standing up all over the world. You know, here in the United States, in some ways we're lucky. In some ways we're very lucky that we have a tradition of nonviolent civil disobedience. We have a tradition of people standing up peacefully, and sometimes not so peacefully, but in this case peacefully, for the land, for what they believe in, for the future, and for justice. And in many areas around the world, if you did this kind of thing, you might get shot. You might get hauled off to jail and tortured. You might get killed. You might get indefinite detention. You might get all kinds of terrible things happening to you. I have friends who are environmental activists in the Philippines, one of the most dangerous countries in the world to be an environmentalist. Hundreds of environmentalists there have been killed. Hundreds of people. And that has a chilling effect. And so we need to fight for our rights to protest, to express ourselves, and fight for our rights to change this situation, to change the laws, to change to change the country we live in all kinds of different ways, to change the world we live in. And if you don't exercise your rights, you lose them. And so that's one reason why we're here too, is to stand up and say, no more, this is not okay. The law may say that Lithium Nevada is allowed to destroy this place. The law says that. But we know that there's a higher law. There's a moral law. There's the ethical law. There's a spiritual law. And it, you know, in that context, in that situation, this is righteous. And, you know, Martin Luther King said that himself often. He talked about when the law is unjust, the right thing to do is to disobey the law. And we're in that tradition right now. We're in that tradition today. And that's a tradition all over the world that people have followed in different ways. And so thank you all for joining us. We're here at Thacker Pass, Kahimaha. Construction is blocked, at least partially for today. The prayer continues. We have more workers coming into the site. We have more activity, vehicles coming and going. We know the police have been called. There are several drones up in the air. I don't know who those belong to. we're assuming that journalists and other people are on their way. There's live streams going on. There's videographers here, photographers, and people are standing up. Right over here, I'll point to it. That little dot right there is Sentinel Rock, also known as Nipple Rock. And right below that is where we believe the Thacker Pass massacre began on September 12, 1865. It began right at dawn, right about the same time that we showed up this morning. And it happened when a group of soldiers with the U.S. Army, the cavalry, attacked a camp of northern Paiute men, women, children, elders, and killed at least 31 of them, perhaps as many as 50 or more. And there are many accounts of this massacre that talk about the people running. You don't stand still when you're being shot at. You don't stand still when you're in fear for your life. You run. And the BLM, the government, the lithium company has argued that this is not significant, that this is not important because it happened slightly outside of BLM land on private property. It may have began there. We don't know. There's only one source that talks about an approximate location where it might have begun, and that source is from 1868. This was not a GPS, global positioning system, modern survey that pinpoints an exact location. This was one man with literal chains, using chains to measure the length and distances on the land, out here saying, "This is what I saw," writing in cursive and handwriting on an old school notebook that's preserved in the BLM records saying this massacre took place here. What we do know from the accounts, the newspaper accounts of that massacre, which were published in papers throughout the northern Nevada, southern Idaho area at the time of that massacre in 1865, is that people ran. It was described as a running battle that went on for hours, and people fled. And we know that one of the people who fled was named Sam, and Sam was an ancestor of Doris, who's right here. That's Doris, and Sam was her relative. May also be have been a relative and ancestor of Dean, I'm not sure. A lot of these families up here are related to each other and connected in many ways. And Sam ran from near Sentinel Rock up to the northwest, up in this direction to Disaster Peak, which is up there. So for all we know, 150 odd years ago, Sam rode his horse fleeing for his life after seeing his family killed right here, directly right here under our feet as we stand here, where these people are standing. I've seen a lot of people crying this morning and people praying, and I know we're all feeling this. This is, there's a lot of people with bowed heads and somber thoughts and feelings because this is an important thing. This is a meaningful thing, and it's hard. I'm not gonna lie. It's really hard to come out here and see this place that I love so much being bulldozed and destroyed, and to see hundreds, maybe 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 acres of sagebrush crushed and ripped up by bulldozers right down there on the horizon. They didn't have a choice to move. They had nowhere to go. That's their home. And it really hurts to see that. And it should hurt. We should open ourselves to that. We should allow ourselves to feel that. But of course, the mining companies are always looking for money. The thing is, a lot of the major executives, the major investors in this project, have probably never been here. Not even once. They've probably never been to this place. Thacker Pass to them is probably a number on a spreadsheet. You know, it's a calculation. It's a source of profit. It's a source of raw materials for a supply chain. It's not habitat. It's not water. It's not sunrises and sunsets. It's not the beauty after a storm blows through in the spring and the flowers are bright and colorful. It's not the coyotes howling under the full moon. It's not a place where ancestors were killed and where people gather today to sit around the fire to do ceremony, to pray. It's not any of those things to them that it is to us. And you know, so in many ways this is a real clash of worldviews that we're seeing. You know, it's a clash that we've seen for hundreds of years and probably much longer. The clash between this worldview that says the world is there for us to exploit, for us to take what we want. And, you know, an alternative worldview, which says we have been born into this beautiful world, we have this blessing to be a part of this, and we have responsibilities as a result of that. We're born into this family and we have to participate as part of this family of life. We have to participate as a good family member. We have to be a good relative. And, you know I feel that way. You know, it's easy for people to sort of mock that attitude and say, oh, you're romanticizing it, it's so silly, and, you know, the things people say, right? But it's not. This is quite literally true, right? We are related to all these kinds of animals out there. We all emerged from the same life. And we rely on each other, right? All of our food, every breath of air we take, every sip of water, every drink, all our clothing, our medicine, our shelter, everything that we have comes from the earth, ultimately, comes from the land. And when we don't recognize that, when we let, you know, bullies run amok and control the whole situation, when we let bullies control the world, which is really the situation that we're in this country, and in much of the world, then we're going to get bad outcomes. So in many ways, I don't feel animosity towards the people behind this mine. I don't feel like they're awful people or evil. I feel like they're little children who are misguided. You know, I feel like they're little kids who are acting greedy. And, you know, we all have that inside us. I've been greedy plenty of times in my life, you know? We all have. Like, we all have those capacities inside us to go down roads that aren't good and aren't responsible and aren't healthy for us and for other people and for the future. And so I feel anger towards them, certainly, sometimes, but I also just feel pity, because it's a real shame to get to 40, 50, 60 years old, to be an adult, to be fully grown, and to not have a greater sense of responsibility to the future and to future generations. And you know, it's not necessarily their fault. That's the world we live in. That's what people have been taught. That's the way people have been brought up, is to think this is normal and this is just, it's okay. This is how we do things. We dig, we extract, we exploit, we grow, we consume, we live out the American dream. A lot of people just feel like that's the way it's always been. That's how it should be. But that's one choice. That's one way of living. And it's not particularly good for our mental health, for our well-being as individuals. I mean, the American culture is not a happy, well-adjusted, you know, spiritually rooted culture. I mean, you look at everything that's going wrong in this country, the violence, the shootings, the discord, it's a mess. And I think a lot of that in ways is related to the destruction of the land and places like this. It's related to the fact that most people in this culture, especially the leaders, are not well, are really not doing well. And that's very sad. You know, it's very, very sad. And You know, I don't say that as like I'm better than everyone else or something and I've got it all figured out. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. Like, I have my own problems. I have my own issues, you know. I'm not perfect. None of us are. We're all human. And we need to work through these things together. We need to come up with a better way. And so these people are taking a stand against the destruction of this land. You know, the lawsuit angle has been tried. The lawsuits to stop the Thacker Pass Lithium Mine and protect the Himaha have not worked. The law is not on the side of the land. The law is on the side of the corporations. And when you have lawyers telling you that, you should listen to them. You should listen to them when they say that. You know, we use the public commenting process. I myself put in a public comment on this mine in 2020, talking about the problems with it and the wildlife it would destroy and how it's greenwashing, and that didn't help. You know, I was at the hearings. A lot of us were at the hearings, public hearings, the public meetings, speaking out against this project, and you know, raising our voices and reaching out to Secretary Deb Haaland, reaching out to Nevada senators, to other politicians around the country, trying to get people to help, to overturn the permit, to stop this project. And none of it has worked. None of it has worked. So how do you respond to that? What do you do when the democratic process fails?
Do you want me to hold that while you get some food?
Huh?
Hold it while you get some food?
No, I was going to wrap this blanket around.
Okay.
And I'll open that. What did you grab? These chips or something?
Oh, yeah, it's crackers.
Oh, yeah. And wrap this around. Oh, my God. Around front. No, that's fine.
You want it?
Yeah, go ahead. You get the-
Okay.
No.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Now open that. Those snacks.
Yeah.
Where's
It's in this side.
Okay.
In this one.
All right. Put your brakes on.
Yeah. I'll roll down. No, it can't even roll down here.
They're pretty good. They got garlic on them. Okay. Sorry, guys. Had to help Dean get covered up and get his snacks. But yes, we've definitely moved from up there by the Conex box where security's at the entrance of the lithium mine site. Now we're moved down just a little ways to be in front of the heavy equipment to stop construction. You can see there's a truck coming back from up there, but they did start the equipment. They thought they were going to be able to work, but our people came and got in the way, so they stopped. So we will see. We'll see what happens here.
So, again, families are here in prayer, walking the roads, walking the construction, walking the equipment at Thacker Pass, constructing the Thacker Pass Lithium Mine. We've been here for over 2 hours now. There's no police on site yet. They definitely know what's going on up here.
Doris. I'm gonna get a picture of you guys. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay guys, I'm gonna walk back this way. We'll get a further out view. But we just find ourselves in a place of prayer. Again, we're trying to find the balance. I know I guess what we're trying to say is that you know, we have a special connection with Mother Earth. All people do, or all humans do, all living things do. And you know, I think just the world forgets about that connection, and us as Indigenous people sometimes feel like we're misunderstood in why we're trying to protect these areas, when to some people it might look like nothing. But we have those birds here, we have the eagle in the canyons, we have food here, we have tools here. There's a lot of obsidian all over the place. And it's the stuff that's important to us, of what's been passed down from generation to generation. And our people were spiritual and always in prayer. That's what my grandpa always said. His grandmas will always pray to eat, pray to make a basket, pray when they're playing in the water. Everything was about prayer and your connection to Creator and to Mother Earth. And sometimes we forget about that living in today's world, when we're so in our phones and in TV and want to be famous and have a lot of money. But the real money is that food that grows here, the animals. Those are things that are important and what keeps us living forever. And we're just trying to reinsert our story into the public so people can start understanding where we're coming from. But yeah, I'm going to start walking back this way. I'm probably going to cut out again until we get a little bit more action. And we'll just kind of keep you guys updated on what's going on. As Max said earlier, we've been here for about 2 hours. We watched the sunrise over Nipple Rock or Sentinel Rock. We've seen the workers and the foreman or the big boss come through, but we have yet to see any law enforcement come in. So we're here in prayer. It's a beautiful day, nice and sunny. It's finally starting to warm up, and we're enjoying listening to all the animals that have came by so far, and we're just gonna continue to be here. So thank you for tuning in. I'll be going in and out of lives all day today, so just keep updated, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you.